All right, it is 5 o'clock and I'll do a quick attendance. Free,
Here.
McGivern is not here yet. Franken,
Here.
Powers,
Here.
Cochran, Lesteggy. Kevin, are you there?
Here.
Did I say your last name right? Is this Lesteggy?
Yep.
Okay. Great. We have a quorum.
Okay, I will call to order the City of Davenport Historic Preservation Commission meeting for Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. We have before us the approval of the minutes from the July 7th, 2020 meeting. Is there any changes, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Powers, so moved.
Sarah, second.
Lesteggy, second.
All those in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the minutes are approved. Laura, would you inform the commission on the emergency demolition order?
Sure. We have, for 923 West 9th Street, there is a barn that has collapsed. The fire marshal and chief building official have deemed it a public safety hazard and have ordered it to be demolished. So that's their letter with the order. And then this is the shape of the barn right now. So that building permit has been issued for the demolition.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other communications from commission members tonight? Hearing none, we have no old business. We will move on to new business. Item A is COA 20-12. That's host station number 1, located at 117 Perry Street, replacement of 18 windows. This is individually listed as a local and a national landmark. Robert Bazell is the petitioner. Staff report.
Yep, and I wanted to let you know I had a typo. His last name is Buzzell, Buzzell.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get to. Okay. So as is written in the agenda, it is 18 windows replacement. There will be 8 on the south side, 5 on the second floor of the west side, 1 to the east side, and 4 in the bell tower. The proposed windows are Quaker H300 historic windows to be installed by East Moline Glass Company. And then I will show you the window drawings. Pursuant to section 14.01.0606C6, deteriorated architectural features should, wherever possibly, be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement, the new features shall match the old in design, color, texture, and other visible qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, or pictorial evidence, and the proposed windows should be similar to those noted in the site inventory form included in this report. So staff recommends approval in accordance with submitted documentation. And so those are the windows on the south side. Thank you. I didn't write them down. So those are the windows on the west side, including
Blue.
And then, oh, sorry, a little bit of a lag. So these are non-existing windows that you are putting windows into?
No, there's one
Oh, on this bottom,
on the bottom right hand underneath that one.
right here, you guys can see. And then, these are really big. Gotta zoom out a little bit, hold on. So, there you go. Okay, that's my staff report.
Is the petitioner present?
Yes.
And wants to make any comments to the commission?
So if you could stand, there's a square in the ceiling up there. It has a microphone in it. So speak up and, yeah, up into there. Oh, hold on one second. I gotta turn it on. Try now.
Hello?
Yes, there we go.
Don't really have a lot to add. The three on the east side that are boarded up, the one was boarded up for decades. The other two have been walled off on the inside for probably close to 100 years. So we just boarded those up because it looked better than it did with looking at insulation from the wall, and we weren't planning on putting windows back in there. But the existing windows, we wanted to replace all of those because they're in pretty dire shape. That's about all I got to add unless you have some questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from commission members? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the COA as presented.
Powers,
Is there
second.
a second? Okay.
McGivern, yes.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Laura?
Lestangey,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Franken,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Free.
Yes. Thank you and good luck.
All right, thank you.
Item B is COA 20-13. This is a property listed at 619 West 6th Street. Demolish a screen-in porch enclosure, window repair, window replacement, and door replacement. This is located in the local Hamburg Historic District. Alex Gilbot is the petitioner. Staff report.
Okay, so staff recommends approving the removal of the enclosed porch and tabling the windows and doors, and will, for the work session following tonight's Historic Preservation Commission meeting, in addition to the porch proposals he has submitted as well. So the demolition is a small enclosure on the porch. It was discussed at a work session back in July, or was that, yes, July. The closure is not original to the home and not a distinguishing feature. Petitioner also is proposing replacing missing windows in the back of the house, basement windows in front, back, and side doors. However, more information is required before staff recommendation can be provided. So I will scroll down to the pictures of the enclosure. So this is the enclosure, if you can see my mouse.
Actually, the
Oh.
steep section
Just
remains, because that's the.
This remains.
Yep, that's stairs, so it's just the,
Just
kind of the
this.
flat, yep,
Just the flat roofed area right here.
correct.
And Alex is present to address any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for the petitioner? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to allow the demolition of the described structure.
So moved, McGivern.
Is there a second?
Les Tagey, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Les Tagey,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Franken,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Free.
Yes. I would now entertain a motion to table all other items one cycle until the October meeting.
So moved, McGivern.
Is there a second?
Les Tagey, second.
Roll call, please.
Les Tagey,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Franken,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Free.
Yes. And the other items will be discussed at the work session after the meeting. We'll now move on to item C, which is COA 20-14. That's a second floor rear stair replacement at 612 West 8th Street. This is located in the local Hamburg Historic District. Eddie Terrell is the petitioner. Staff report.
Okay, so this is just a straight replacement with in-kind treated wood. And the dimensions are in the application and match the existing stairs. The staff recommends approval in accordance with submitted documentation. And then the petitioner, we have Eddie?
Yeah.
Okay, Eddie Terrell is here if you have any questions.
Are there any questions for the petitioner from commission members? Hearing none,
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to approve the COA as presented.
So moved, McGivern.
Second, Powers.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Les Tagey,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Franken,
Yes.
McGivern,
Yes.
Free.
Yes. Thank you and good luck.
Okay.
Item D. I now open a public hearing for National Register of Historic Places 20-02, and that's the review of a recommendation to add, excuse me, the WOC Broadcast Center at 805 Brady Street on to the National Register of Historic Places. Staff report.
Okay. Staff recommends that the commission recommend the WOC Broadcasting Center property at 805 Brady Street be listed on the National Register of Historic Places because of its achieves consistency with criterion C architecture. So as a participant of the Certified Local Government Program, the Historic Preservation Commission is required to review and comment on proposed National Register nominations at properties within its jurisdiction. We did invite,
Do we have anyone present
it does not look like,
that prepared the nomination?
it doesn't look like we do. I did invite
Okay.
the preparer, James Jacobson, as well as Susan Ramsett from KWQC. The mayor was also
Okay.
invited but could not attend.
Will this be voted on by the Davenport City Council? so that the mayor is authorized to sign the document?
Yep, I'll put it on tonight for the next committee of the whole.
Okay. I would entertain a motion from the commission to recommend that the WOC Broadcast Center be added to the National Register of Historic Places.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Rankin, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call?
Les Teggy,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Franken,
Yes.
McGivern, McGivern,
Yes.
okay, Free.
Yes.
Okay.
We have no other business tonight. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the commission tonight? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to retire.
McGivern, so moved.
Is there a second?
Powers, second.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the commission is adjourned.
Hey, it's Bob. Did you get my last vote? I kind of freezed as I was driving through Coal Valley.
Yes, we did get it.
All right.
Thanks, Bob. Okay,
Okay, I will open up a work session to discuss 619 West Sixth Street.
and Alex is still here.
So I think if you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. So I believe when we were in our last work session, I believe the door was mentioned, but I didn't have the specs, so I think I brought those up and sent the both information brochure from the manufacturer, the pictures of the actual doors, wrote down the dimensions, and the reason why I'm concerned with kind of the current condition of the door. The insert is just a plastic thing that's mostly held by duct tape. So it's not the most secure thing, and I've already been notified by neighbors several times that there have been people looking and pushing and prodding around. So I would like to replace them something more secure so that I could actually have safe environment to work in. As well as, of course, replace the boarded up because, well, it doesn't look nice. But I wasn't sure what other materials would be needed, or if there are any concerns with the proposed door that I would like to use.
I guess, my question is, are you looking to, are these temporary secure fixes? Or are you looking at whatever you do to be permanent? I mean, I don't even know if you need to come to us for temporary. Maybe you do, I don't know. But if this is for temporary to secure the building and everything, do we care?
Well, I was told that even for temporary, I needed approval because it's.
So this
visual
is for
change.
just a temporary door?
Well, I think on the front, I'm not sure that how approved it would be because it's visible and it's, I don't know if it's considered, or like if I have to replace it with historical or matching, or what criteria needs to be met. I thought for the back door, it could become permanent because it's not visible or anything, as well as the side door. They're not visible from the street or anywhere else really. So it would be nice to just keep them. They're not bad doors, but on the front, I wasn't sure what criteria I had to meet. If it can become permanent, I'm okay with that too. If there is a concern, it could be temporary and I could replace it with whatever
Yeah.
matches the,
So moving forward, if it's something that's emergency-based, we can do is have the building official look at it and determine it's an emergency repair for public safety. And then you can put in a temporary door until you can come here for approval for a permanent door.
okay.
So at no point do we, as staff, want to delay something that's going to secure your building. So I didn't know that it was a temporary fix. I thought it was a permanent.
Well, as I said, I think I would prefer them to be permanent, but I don't know if they meet the criteria. so.
Okay.
So the proposed door, are you proposing the same door for all three entrances?
So the front and back match, so they have the same 36 by 74 dimensions, and it's kind of the same frame enclosure. So those two would be the same, and then the side door is actually by 32, so it's narrower, and that one will be a similar door. I just didn't purchase that one yet because I wanted to make sure if I could use the same and make it permanent, or if I need to change it to something else, and then I'll just purchase whatever the permanent would be for that.
And these are solid wood doors?
I believe they are composite, based on the brochure, meaning the core of them is composite.
That sounds like something that someone could easily break through.
Right, do we allow like metal doors that have the architectural feature and look of, I mean. if
We
I was
haven't
doing it,
before.
But why wouldn't we? Because, I mean, you could kick a wood door hard beat to have, and you probably could with wood jams around a metal, but metal security doors. I mean, John, I'm asking the question. I really don't know.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't have the book knowledge of you, but
I guess without knowing how the construction of the door is made,
I mean, for
hate
new
to-
construction and rehab, we typically would put temporary. Yeah.
And I understand that too. Just a plain steel flat panel door for temporary work while you're renovating the building would probably provide the security you're looking for, and then we could come back and
Look at something more permanent.
here I see here it's a fiberglass door.
This is that's the,
The spec
that's
sheet,
the,
yep,
yeah, for this door here.
correct.
Okay,
It's just it can be stained so it will look like wood.
okay. And that is, Bob does mention a good point that that's very common in construction and rehabs of homes. You put in a cheaper door that can get banged up and it's not as big a deal, and then you put your nicer door on later.
Right, well, I think because there is nothing that I think should be damaging it, that's why I was thinking that if it doesn't get damaged, it's a nice door. I would like to give it be permanent, but if it doesn't match criteria, I'll have to replace it, so. And maybe I could reuse it, there is a basement door that's in very bad shape, so if it's not approved as a front door, I could move it
Is it
to the,
interior?
yeah, basement door.
Okay.
I have
From
no
what I
experience with fiberglass because as in my years on the commission, I don't know that we've ever reviewed a fiberglass door before. I'd almost want to talk to SHPO first before have staff talk to SHPO about it.
Okay.
So if it
I
was,
know there's a lot of non-wood
I guess
products that
bottom
are
line is,
being
if it's gonna be-
allowed in.
If it's gonna be,
Barbara,
It's Diane.
but as I understand it, John, if it's gonna be permanent, it has to conform to.
We're losing you, Bob.
but yeah, Bob, you're breaking up.
John, I just wanted to make sure, are we discussing the temporary door right now? That's my understanding.
Well,
Be clear about it.
I think Alex.
No,
would-
if the
yeah.
petitioner, if we would allow it, the petitioner would like to use this door as permanent.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's why I said I have no experience on a fiberglass door. And would be more comfortable if staff got guidance from the state SHPO office.
And at least.
I have no problems using non-wood products because there is a lot going on in historic restoration today that is non-wood. But as I said, I have no experience in this product.
Well, it sounds like we need some more information, because,
Are you guys
sounds,
okay
sounds
with?
good, but it's okay, if I can use them as temporary, right? Is that my understanding?
If you would like to use them as temporary, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys okay with the general style of this type of door? For a permanent door?
Unless we have a historic photo that shows the doors in their original form.
So Commissioner Franken gave me this one. You can't see it very well.
And of course, the tree blocks the picture.
I know, it's perfect. Let me kind of give you,
but if you zoom in, you can see that there, I believe you can see, there were two panels to the door. The one above the doorknob area, more or less, is the larger panel, and the one below it smaller. There's no glass. There appears to be a transom in the top, let light into the hallway. So, that's what we have so far,
Okay, so
but there's no glass.
for a permanent door, you would approve if it was solid wood with a large panel and a lower panel essentially kind of matching this? So if I found a door that had,
Well, yes, no, because, the main height door that you showed with, sort of a leaded glass transom, that's
Right.
really a craftsman design, loosely, and wouldn't be appropriate to the styles of this house. But I'm thinking, you know, I haven't seen your door, the original door, but it seems to be what I can see, that it's repairable. it might be appropriate to install a tempered glass window, which probably did come in starting in the 20th century when glass became more desirable.
Yeah, I think the issue is it's not just the glass panel that's been plastic, but also the wooden panel in the bottom section is actually cracked. So that's where I initially planned on restoring the door, but when I looked at it, at the condition, and I found out that based on the hinges, it's not the original door. So it just matches, I guess, one from that photo. So that's where I'm thinking, if I were to do anything with it for permanent, would I just need to find a matching solid wood door that would have that large panel and the bottom small panel? Would that be okay?
A large panel on the top, that's our understanding, and a smaller panel below that. I think it's a solid wood door. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay.
You know, I can't, like you said, we've made a judgment on the repairing of it. I haven't seen it.
So you would need close-up pictures of the crack in the bottom panel and the deterioration from kind of the rest of it to deem that it's
Yeah,
not.
certainly would be valuable. The stained glass, obviously, we can all tell is not original and not
Right.
historic,
Yeah. Clearly, it's not stained glass.
right? Clearly.
But I tend to agree with you, Diane, that the door that's there now is intended to, after seeing that, what little of that historic photo, to mimic the original door. They just added a glass panel when it became more available.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I knew, like if I found one to propose for next time, kind of what to look for. So
Okay. Did you have any other questions about the door?
I think that's it on the door.
Okay. So I want to make sure I understand the commission correct. We can issue building permits for the temporary doors to secure the building, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And did you still want me to talk to SHPO about the fiberglass product?
Well, depending on what he finds for a permanent door, I'd wait until he found a
Okay.
door that matches that panel arrangement right there in that picture.
And then for the back and side door, can we use the fiberglass or not?
So the commission doesn't look at just what's visible from the street. They look at the entire architectural integrity of the building.
Okay,
So the same would apply even if it's not visible from the street.
okay.
But I can, if you want to, that's what you think you want to do, I can check with our contact at the state.
Okay.
And see what they say about fiberglass.
Sounds good, because yeah, I kind of thought that, and I understand that there was a mention that it's more craftsman style versus, and I wasn't sure, because the panels and all of the bevels matched the panels, so that's where, but of course, it's a different arrangement, so.
Yeah.
And of course, the arches in that leaded glass matched the arches on the windows, so that's where I thought, you know, it's seemed structurally similar to me, but I'm not an art
Sure.
major, so I don't know.
Okay. So next is, let me see, we've got, so this was, Alex is proposing to repair the deck and railing. So this is existing, obviously in need of repair. And then he's proposing for the decking, a composite wood material. It's Trex brand, if you're familiar with that. So it looks like wood, but it's composite.
And essentially, the thought process there was, if I put the composite material, it doesn't require any maintenance, so at least it will look the same for much longer. But that porch actually wraps around the corner as well. Again, it's not visible from the street because it's kind of in the alleyway and then goes towards the back. So it's not anywhere near the front of the house, but. So it's on the west side, it's between yep, it's in that space. So there's a staircase there, and then it wraps around.
Okay. And that's it right over here.
Yep. And so the part that I am demolishing, because that was the original porch, I would just continue it through.
Demolishing in what way?
So the enclosure will demolish, but the floor will remain as the deck.
Okay.
Hey, can Bob mute himself until he needs to speak, because his feedback is, I'm having a hard time hearing people.
I agree.
I can mute him for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yes, thank you so much.
No problem. So,
But yes, I wasn't sure. I think my neighbors to the west, in the last 2 years, I believe, I think I found the application from 2018. They replaced their back porch with a composite, so that's where I thought that maybe that was appropriate. And I mean, I have a composite porch and I haven't had to do anything with it for 10 years, so it's much easier on maintenance than a wooden one, but I wasn't sure what the rules on that were. And I don't think it's original either, just based on the construction of it.
Oh, clearly this is a deck. This isn't an original porch. I have no problem. You know, the commission reviews everything on the exterior of the building. And again, you pointed out this is on the rear of the building. I have no problem, since it's going to be exposed to the weather without a roof over it, using composite materials. I would recommend that you run your boards from the building out
Okay.
instead of parallel to the building.
Yeah, that was my plan anyway, because I want to make sure that.
It looks better and it drains the water better.
yeah.
Yeah, plus I was kind of hoping to, there is a storm, well, used to be a storm door for the basement access. And so I would like to make sure that I could kind of use it, open up that deck to access that basement door. So the boards running away from the house allow for that.
And then for the railing,
I think the railing, at least based on what was enclosed in the, so the demolished one, it was the 2x2 square balusters, and then kind of a flat 2x4 as the railing. So I was proposing matching that and essentially painting them gray. I think they were painted purple before, but or lilac or something, but.
so kind of to match what they did to the,
So it will match that, yeah, the existing, and I think there was an interior picture from the demolition photos that had that lilac railing. The only difference is, I think, is the height So the enclosed porch that, as I said, they just simply, I think there was an old railing that they covered up. The only difference is the height. I think the current height here is about 40 inches. The one that was covered in the porch was 30, but I think the code is 42, so I would assume I just go with code for the height.
Any feedback from commissioners on the height of the railing?
Again, I believe if the deck is 4 feet above the ground, then the 42 applies unless there's an existing historic railing. Then the building department will work with us if we're making repairs and stuff. But since none of this is original,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the one that was enclosed was closer to being original. As I said, they had the existing exterior railing that they wrapped around with a wall.
In the photos that you have?
I think, yeah, if you look at the demolition ones.
Oh. These ones, I think. Let's take a- Oh,
Yep,
other one? This one?
so it's in this one, but yeah, essentially, if you could see the height of, under that window. So I don't know if you're mousing over this.
Oh, right here, guys. You can kind of.
So that's where the lilac 2x2 square balusters are enclosed. But as you could see, the height of that is much lower than the height on the back of the
So
railing.
do you think this might have been like a smaller porch in the past that they just enclosed
I
and then
think
they did
so.
a bigger porch on it?
Right.
Okay.
So that's where I say I will retain that as a porch, but the railing, I was going to make all consistent with code at 42, unless you want me to do it at 30 inches, like that one that's enclosed.
from the edge of the deck to the grade, what's the distance in the backyard?
So I believe it's about 3 feet, because there is a concrete pad. So from the top of the deck to that concrete pad is about 3 feet.
How many stairs down does it go, do you know?
3.
3?
Wow, the deck is the 4th, so it's
Okay.
3 steps in the deck.
I don't think we can make a case for a shorter railing,
Okay.
because we'd have to justify it with the building inspector, being that this is not original to the house, clearly probably wasn't original to the house. So I'm guessing you probably should plan for 42. That way, he will be happy. Laura can briefly touch base with him and show him the pictures, but I think they're going to 42.
I think they would prefer the 42.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then are you guys okay with pressure treated wood for the railing?
Traditionally, we don't allow exposed. He's going to paint it. I would recommend if you could find something else, it would be better. But since it's going to be painted and it's on the back of the house,
Okay.
and it's not an original feature, I
Okay.
think I can live with it.
Alrighty. And this is the color you're doing for the composite?
Correct. Because,
Okay.
yeah, I think I'm trying to match all of the trim paint to be gray,
A
so.
gray. Well, it's kind of like weathered wood then.
Correct, yep.
All right, so on to windows.
Basement windows,
Yep.
because I think they're different.
Yep, there's some different ones. So there's a series of basement windows that Alex is proposing.
So there are actually two on that one. One is under that front door.
Right here.
Actually, that's under the window. Under front doors, there is a weird step. Yep, right there.
Right here. Can you
So
guys-
under the step, there is actually a window.
So hidden kind of.
So again, you can't see it, so that's why I was thinking just doing the vinyl windows would be fine, because you never see them.
Okay, and then you have this one, and then these are the ones under the deck.
Correct.
Do you know what material they are now?
I think in some cases it's plywood, in some cases it's metal sheet, like in that one in the picture.
Okay, and then this is the proposed window replacement.
Correct. And that's just so that the basement is secure and somewhat weather tight. Because right now, the boards have deteriorated as well as the metal sheeting, that water just kind of flows through those openings.
So is it permanent or temporary?
Permanent.
We have never done windows for basement. Original windows would have been a wood frame. I think this is another one, Laura, that you need to discuss
Okay.
with SHPO. I understand the need for cost, since this is an unfinished basement and it would probably never be finished. If it's anything like mine.
Yeah, it's, I think, barely like maybe 6.5 feet tall, so I don't think I plan.
Yeah. Head knocker.
So it's,
Can
yeah,
we
it's only a
see the
few inches.
slide before this?
I think
The
that,
window on the left side, yeah, if, I don't even like to say the word vinyl, let alone, we always try to steer clear of that, in a historic home. The vinyl window that you show, it has no division of the panes, or is it because, are you referring to the one on the right here?
so I think the ones that are kind of that standard 20 by 36, so they're kind of the prolonged horizontal ones. They are typically just two sections, so they will be replaced with the kind of just the sliding one, so it will match. I have seen windows that are divided kind of like that one into 4 quarters. So essentially it's like a double hung and it has a like a panel dividing it. So if I need to match them just kind of visually, I think they do have basement windows that at least match that visual style.
So this is more of a square window?
Correct.
Okay,
So yeah, I think that one is 30 by 30.
okay.
Okay, is that one repairable?
The sash is too deteriorated. Actually, some of those are broken. So I'm not sure that, like, unless I recreate the sash, I don't think I could use any of the existing material.
I'm concerned that the vinyl isn't visually compatible. It'd be nice to find something that would be, I don't want to say compromise, but
Yeah, I think because it's under
Even if
the,
it was
it's under the deck.
even if it was a metal clad.
Okay. I think the problem is that they're under the deck, so you can't actually see them ever.
Hey, this is Bob. Sorry, a new app here. I thought I was muted before. I guess my only concern, and it's good to know what SHPA says, because I know we've talked about vinyl and it's not acceptable. And the concern I'd have, even temporary can go a long time, but you know, you get some of these older homes where it's not like a vinyl rectangular new construction window. Some of these are very deep window wells. Some of these are normal sized windows, even below basement. So I'd be concerned about that. I'd be interested to see what SHPA says, because you know, I can see, like John said, a metal, you know, like a like quality from wood, I would say would be made, you know, a metal like we did with the German American Center. But I think we better check it out, because I'd be concerned about it.
Yeah, I think on my farmhouse, which is actually probably about the same age, maybe a little older, when we were remodeling, the builder put in treated wood for that frame, and then the vinyl window in the basement was attached to that treated wood. So if you could see the outline, so of course the basement portion is stone, but then there's lining of the wood, so I could use treated wood to make that frame and then simply attach the window to it. And that's how I was planning on doing it. But yeah,
I don't think we're gonna reach a conclusion to this tonight on these windows until we hear from SHPA.
Okay.
And they may even have some prepared documents to guide us on basement windows.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, they still make the wood sash windows, in that size. I'm looking at a picture right now. And they're available in, looks like 27 different sizes. Pine, oak, and then they also make that same version on vinyl, it looks like.
Okay.
That's the Core Light.
Okay.
Okay. I will reach out to my SHPA contact and see if they have any guidance, and I will share that with you, Alex, and as well as the commission. So
Sounds
you
good.
guys have that feedback too.
And then I think the next section is the actual windows. So my original plan was to try and restore existing sashes, but it turns out that a lot of them, at least the bottom rail, I think the stiles, some of them are damaged, but definitely the bottom rail, both on the top sash and the bottom, have deteriorated to the point where they're actually falling out. And so that, like, I can't make sure that I could re-secure the corners. So I had Anderson come out, do the initial consultation, but they told me that they no longer have solid wood. So their material was composite, and I believe it was metal clad on the outside. And so before I kind of went with their in-depth, where they do exact measurements, because they make custom sizes, that I wanted to check if that weird 40% wood composite with metal cladding on the outside and wood veneer on the inside, if that was going to be acceptable or not.
I guess the big question is, can they match the existing features?
It's a double hung, so I believe it will look very similar. So they do have, as you notice, most of them are plain, kind of two lights, meaning, you know, the double hung with no division. But they do have options like the ones on the back that have the 4-light division. They do have that. So if they need to match the 4-light design on the back.
Because the stiles and the rails have to match dimensions.
Right.
If it's anything like that picture, that Laura just showed of a modern window, that doesn't match.
Well, it's because it's a really
clearly
small.
the stiles and the rails, are thicker, and all they got is a cheap plastic insert for the divided light.
The reason why it looks so thick is because this window is a sample window, so it's only like 20 inches by 40 inches. The windows that you see on the house, they're 55 by 74 inches. So by the time they actually make the actual window, those dimensions match. So for the width of the stile and the rail, it's just, you're kind of seeing a very smushed sample window. I just wanted to kind of,
Okay.
Yep.
And then also being a brick structure, the brick mold on the outside is very important.
That's an
That
existing.
doesn't change.
That's an existing wooden one. I believe they say they size them to fit, so they will, they can either reuse the existing frame or they could do a whole, you know, replacement. So my thought was, yeah, if they can reuse the existing structure, that's what I wanted to do.
Because the profile of the brick mold is historic to the house, so
Yeah, that doesn't
that's
change.
important to keep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they were essentially, that's what the second appointment was supposed to be, where they may measure them really precisely so they make the size that fits into the existing space.
Again, I have no experience on a composite window. I think, Laura, this is something else we need to touch base with SHPO.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've allowed wood-clad windows before, as Bob pointed out, in the German American Center.
So on that, I could probably reach out to Marvin and Pella, because I believe based on their brochures, they did have wood but clad. So essentially they were clad on the outside, but solid wood on the inside. So if
Marvin has been in the business of historic window replacement longer than the other two.
Okay, so I could reach
By
out.
about 50% longer.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I can reach out to
Marvin's
them
been in the business since the late 1970s
and
for
find out.
historic windows.
Okay. As I said, I just was worried about the composite material. I wasn't necessarily sold on Andersen. I have Andersen in my house. They work well. I believe this house on the back for the bay window has 3 Andersen windows, so that's the reason I reached out. But I think it's an older Andersen window that is metal clad and wood inside. And so when I asked for the same features, they said they no longer had those. They only had that weird 40% wood composite, so. Okay, so it sounds like we
So,
need
looks like
to
wood-
follow up. Yep.
Yeah, wood clad, fine. We
Okay.
don't know about composite.
Wood clad would be fine, depending on what SHPO says about the composite. I mean, the fact that it's clad, you're gonna have the same presentation on the outside of the building, whether it's wood inside or, I mean,
Okay, And then the only
Is it
alternative,
composite treated with a color or is it painted?
so it's, I believe it's still clad with metal on the outside, and then it's composite with a wood grain, with a wood veneer is how they described it. So it's actual, pine on the inside, but it's only a veneer, not a solid wood.
So,
Because my only other alternative was I would simply recreate the sashes to match the existing, and where glass was the original, I would place it into a new sash and simply place my recreated sash back in. And then if the window is, or the glass is missing, then I would replace it with matching style glass. And I actually have to do that for the curved windows because, well, nobody makes them anymore.
don't see.
So for the curved ones, my plan was to make the sash out of cedar for weather resistance, and it's just going to be solid cedar.
Yeah, so you can pick the color, both interior and exterior. And then commissioners, you want a 1/1?
Yeah, that's what the originals are.
Yeah, I think it's 1/1 for most of them, and with the exception of the one room in the back that has 4 lights, so 4/4. But I don't know if those are
I think we've had this
original or not.
discussion again. The 4/4 may have been original when the structure was built in the late 1860s, early 70s. But as glass technology got better and it was updated in the early 20th century, they probably went to 1/1, which I know in the 50 years that I've been familiar with the Hamburg district, that's all that house has had in it.
So essentially, I can make all of them be 1/1. Or should I keep the ones in that room as 4/4? It is on the back or on the south side of the house.
Did you guys hear Alex's question? Can he have all of them be 1/1, or does he need to keep these 2 4/4?
Is that another SHPO question? Or I don't know.
I think for consistency, since there's only 2 windows left, I would not, and it's on the back of the house, I would not have a problem allowing all of them to be 1/1. But yeah, let's ask Triple about that too.
Okay. All righty. I hopefully will hear back from SHPO relatively quickly so that you can prepare for some more information.
Okay, but I guess if I recreate the sashes and reuse the glass, would that be, so rather than getting complete replacement windows from Anderson or Marvin or whoever, if I make solid wood sashes to replace the deteriorated ones, replace the glass, would that be okay?
Creating replacement sashes is always a good option as long as the stiles and rails.
Yep, I
Mimic
even found the router
the
bits,
exact-
so the molding will match on the
Mimic
inside.
the exact dimensions.
Yep. Well, I'm hoping to reuse existing glass, so they'd better match the, the existing dimensions.
The biggest problem that in the last 40 years, building new sachs is finding the quality of the wood to build them out of.
Okay.
Pine today is nothing like it was 150 years ago.
Yep, that's why I was planning on using cedar, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Something harder.
you would want a denser wood. Pine deteriorates so quickly today because it's grown so quickly for construction, and you don't have the dense tree ring to the wood. Plus cedar accepts the weather a lot better.
That was kind of my thinking too.
But no, if you wanted to create new sachs, that would, as long as they're 100% replacement, that would be fine too.
Okay,
That would save you a lot because then you don't have to, you just have to remove the sachs and everything and
right.
not mess with the brick mold or anything on the outside of the building.
Yep. I think the only other things is I might have to, so there are the dividers that are rotting out, but I found oak ones that match, so I could just take the old ones out, put the new ones in. And that's essentially that dividing, I don't know what the name of it is, but it's the divider between the top and bottom sash against which they glide. I think it's like a weather strip, an old school weather strip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Does that help, Alex?
Yep. Oh, and then I guess for the storm or the
Your screen?
screen, there we go. I don't think, I might be able to create the curved ones as well, but on the existing ones, some are metal, some are wood, some are missing. Is there any guidance on A, whether or not the screens are required, and B, what are requirements for those? Because I believe in the stores, the only thing that's kind of available are those just aluminum, really clincy, ditzy things that I would prefer not to use. So I could probably remake them out of wood to try to match the wooden screens. I think I have an example of one, that window that had a lot of plastic with plywood, or not plywood, drywall in it.
I think it's this way.
Yeah, that one.
This
That's the
one?
one that has a wooden screen on the outside.
Okay, see it?
It's kind of hard to see, but essentially it's a full frame.
Yeah. Well, for a building of that age, anything with a wood frame is probably more presentable, and
Okay.
preferable than the off-the-rack aluminum storm combinations that you can buy at
Okay.
Lowe's or Home Depot. Plus, wood is better insulator.
But are they required? Like if I just remove them, is that okay?
Instead of having no, and so have no screens instead of,
Right.
I guess that comes back to the intended use of your building, whether you're gonna live in it or rent it.
I plan on
You're
living.
gonna rent it, I'm sure the building officials are gonna want screens on the outside of the building.
Okay,
And that would be a question for the building official.
Okay.
but if I am living in it.
No, you don't really need it. I mean, you open a window, you're letting the possibility of anything fly through the window, but
I can
that
double,
comes back to your intended, that again comes back to your intended use of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the future I probably would, but I think right now for presentation, I would rather remove them. And also because they're inconsistent, as I said, sometimes they are metal, sometimes they're aluminum, and sometimes they're wood, depending on which side of the house you're on. So I would, at least during the renovation process, I would rather just remove them entirely. And then once I get to the process of.
And that's fine, you know, there's no requirement while you have the building in renovation.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
yeah, but I can check with our building
It's
official.
just when it becomes occupied.
Okay,
Yep, and I'll double check with our building official too, to see what the code requires for screens.
I think that's all the questions I had for the window.
So when you're ready with the windows, kind of like what 111 or 117 Perry did for the, it's like a diagram showing the profiles of the windows.
Okay,
So kind of like an architectural
each-
sketch, so
okay.
that it can see,
Cutaways,
yep, cutaways, so they
Okay.
can see how thick
drawings,
it is.
dimensions.
They want to see if it will match the profile
okay,
for
Yep.
the structure and the windows that are there now.
sounds good. Now, all of them, well, given that it's old, they are not precisely the same, meaning that, you know, it's 54 3/4, 55 1/8. So do I need to make every single one that's of different size? Or if they're within half an inch of each other, I could just say count so many?
Well,
I mean, obviously, when I'm
normally
making them.
a rough opening is upwards of an inch and a half larger than your window. I mean, if we're talking about quarters of inches, I would say no. We're talking more than an inch, I would say yes.
Okay, so for every, like, if the width is significant, like with more than an inch difference, then I should present each one of those windows as separate
You know,
cutaway, or at least list
you
all
want
of
to
those.
match the windows existing as closely as possible.
Right, no, what I meant was for the cutaway,
In
for
terms
the
of-
design, because all, for the rails and stiles, they are the same dimension. It's only the width of them that, the width and, well, height, I think, vary.
Well, in their drawing, they can put how many windows are going to be this dimension, how many windows are going to be this dimension.
Okay,
Yep. So kind of like I
Or they
did
can
the-
put plus or minus 1 1/4 inch. Or,
yeah.
okay,
And then if you could number your windows because there are so many
right,
and just refer to which ones go in what place,
okay.
that would be helpful.
Yep, because I think the quote from Anderson was for 15 windows, but that's not all the windows in that house.
Right.
yeah.
So we just need a clear understanding of which ones you're going to do.
Okay. Well, essentially all of them, because they're all in that kind of shape, I think.
Yep. And if you need to come back later for other ones, you can.
Okay. But I'm kind of doing.
I believe the company that deals with Marvin is Seaford Lumber out on East West Kimberly.
Okay,
If I remember right.
so yeah, I'll reach out to them and see what their quote is as kind of an alternative.
Okay. And then I will reach out to SHPO and see what kind of guidance they have for composite materials and, let's see, so fiberglass, the composite materials for windows, and then guidance for basement.
Doors.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
the guidance for basement windows and vinyl is appropriate. Or some other material. And then whether or not SHPO recommends keeping those 4/4s, or if they can be 1/1s. Anything else?
I think that was the end.
Okay.
It's like, I can't
The
remember, there were
end.
so many things in there.
Yep, I think that was the last page of your stuff.
Well, I really appreciate all of your help and suggestions. I'm learning a lot.
I'm sure you are.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Is there any other questions from commission members?
Thanks for doing all that. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your help. And your time.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the work session.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
All right, thanks, Alan.